Okay, well, it is 4 minutes after now, so why don't we just get started? So, today we're talking about how to create the life you desire in 1 year. September is my new year, so it's my birthday month. So, this is the time of year where I always feel like um, I'm starting over or I want to take an assessment of how my life is going. And this is usually a time of year where I start to plan things out for the next year. And I think it also happens to be, summer is ending and summer was fun time, so now we're getting back to work, kids are getting back to school. It seems collectively to be like a time where people feel like it's the new year. So that's why I wanted to share my tips with you today on how to transform your life in the next year, because the next 12 months is going to pass by, whether we do anything about it or not. So we might as well make it the time that we really work on our dreams. So I'm going to share my screen, bring up my slides here. See if I can get rid of this little box. There we go. Hopefully, I don't want to block off any of the slides. So there we go. We're going to create the life you desire in 1 year. I always like to start with a quote. So today's quote is, "A dream without a plan is just a wish." So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about how you can plan out your next 12 months. And then actually have some planner pages that I made that you can download, where you can map out your next year for yourself. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through 10 tips of how to plan and create the life you desire over the next 12 months. And then I'll go through the planner pages with you as well. So if you are new to me, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Donna DeRosa. I'm the author of The Big Book of Mediterranean Diet Cooking and The Flexitarian Cookbook for Beginners and A Year of Graceful Living. I used to be an automotive journalist and a managing editor, and now I'm a lifestyle and wellness coach, and I specialize in the Mediterranean diet and Mediterranean lifestyle. So I have two websites, donnaderosa.com, where I write about lifestyle and wellness, and I have mostly where I share recipes. And I also have a YouTube channel just called Donna DeRosa, where you can see all of this in action. So let's get straight into the tips. The number one tip is to know what you want. So if you're going to map out your next year, you have to know what direction that you are going. So you have to sit someplace quietly, all alone, and think about your future. So what is your ultimate big goal? To create the life you desire, you have to dream big. Sometimes we let our little dreams get in the way. So we're not talking about, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to take a trip to Paris and that's my goal. We want to, maybe we want to meet a great set of friends or something like that. So these are all great goals to have, but for this, you're going to give yourself a whole year. So we're going to dream really big. So what is the end game and what are all those things that you're doing leading you to? So I have a worksheet called Discover Your Future Self, which I will drop into the chat, and you'll also get it in your email when you get the replay, which it's for free. So you can download it, you can either print it out or you can copy the prompts into a workbook or a journal or something if you want. And it's going to ask you specific questions about your future. So when we get off this call, I want you to take time to do these exercises because this is really the first step because you need to know what you want. So when you do this, I want you to not think about all the other people in your life. I really want you to just think about yourself. So what do you want? Don't think about your husband or your kids or your friends or your parents or your roommates or anything. I want you to think about you specifically. So to pave the road for your future, you have to have a destination in mind. So the first step is crucial because all of your decisions are going to the direction that you choose to take, this is all going to lead you into your future self. So number two is to make room in your life. I'm going to spend a little time on this one because I think this one is really important. So out with the old and in with the new. You have to make space for this new life that you want to create. So this could mean new clothes, new foods, new friends, new place, new job, depending on what that goal is for you. So a lot of people who follow me, because I've written 2 cookbooks, want to lose weight. But there are also people who want to start their own businesses or they want to live abroad or they want to do all different types of things in their life. So I'm going to try to give examples that touch all of those areas. But sometimes people just want to, they're getting older and they want to feel a little more stylish, so none of these goals are frivolous. Every goal is worthy. And I want you to think about what you really want, with no judgments from yourself or from anyone else. Okay. So if you want a stylish new wardrobe, you're going to have to get rid of some of your old clothes, right? So if you want to start a healthy eating plan, you have to get rid of the foods in your refrigerator and your pantry that aren't serving the life that you want to create in the future. So to make room in your new life, you have to shed your old skin. Now, this can be painful because it can mean stepping away from relationships that no longer fit into your plan. So sometimes, the bad habits that we get into are things that we do with our friends, and we go out with our friends maybe, and we drink too much and we eat too much, and it's always been fun. But as we're getting a little older, these things start to catch up with us and take their toll. So let me give you an example. I know a woman who is she was severely overweight, and she was trying to lose some pounds and get healthier for years. And she would, lose a little, gain it back, lose a little, gain it back. And her husband was also in the same shape. And these are the types of things that they would do together. Like everything they did together revolved around food from the time that they met through their marriage. So they would go out to dinner, or they would eat pizza and watch movies or things like that. So all of the habits that they had created together were fulfilling this same life of them being overweight. And I mean, she was very, very overweight, and so when she finally decided, she got her mindset in the right place where she was like, I can't do this anymore. She had a little health scare, and she was just like, I can't do this anymore. I am going to get healthy. And she started small. She started taking walks, and she started going to the gym, and she joined a hiking club, and she started meeting people who had this healthy lifestyle. Now, unfortunately, her husband really wasn't on board with this new lifestyle that she wanted to create, and he was not interested in it at all. So, you know, sadly, they started to grow apart because she was meeting these new friends who were fitting in with her new life that she wanted to create. And in order to create success, she had to do something about the husband. So either he had to get on board, or, I mean, this is how people end up growing apart, right? Because their interests aren't aligned. So she ended up actually getting divorced. She's now remarried to someone who shares that lifestyle with herself. So I don't want to scare you saying that to make room in your life, you have to just dump your husband and, don't like get rid of all your friends and things like that. I'm just saying to be brave, and make these decisions based on what you really want in life. Because if you really want the life that you envision, you have to think about the objects, the clothes, the places, and maybe even the people who are going to populate your new life that you want to create. So they won't be the same things and the same people sometimes that are in your life right now. Because, you can, of course, stay in touch with all these people, stay in touch with your friends who you've known for years, but maybe you won't be spending as much time with them. And this happens naturally. So you're probably not still friends with the people that you were when you were a little kid in school, right? You think you're going to be friends forever, and then you grow apart. Some go to college, some make other choices. And you start to grow apart. It doesn't mean you don't love them anymore, or don't like them anymore, or that you wouldn't be glad to see them if you ran into them somewhere. But we do outgrow people in our lives because we start to move in different directions as we grow up. So now, like I said, I don't want to scare you. I also know couples who have gone through this together and decided that they wanted to get healthy together, and they decided to move forward in that same direction together, and they have stayed together doing these things. So it doesn't mean that you have to stop talking to all your friends, because I know when I talk about making room in your life, sometimes it can be as simple as cleaning out your pantry and your refrigerator if you want to lose weight, and getting rid of the cookies and the snack foods and stuff like that, and replacing it with vegetables and fruits. But sometimes if people are having really heavy life issues, sometimes it's the people that you surround yourself with that are causing you to keep into the same unhealthy habits. So it doesn't always have to be the extreme example of my friend with her divorce. Okay. So number 3 is to set uncomfortably large goals. Now, I don't want you in this next year to set a goal of just something that you can complete in a week, because we're giving ourselves a whole year. So we're talking about really big life-changing goals. So if your goals don't scare you a little bit, then they're not quite big enough. So they should be scary in a good way. It should be exciting that when you think about this goal, it makes you a little nervous, but you're excited. It's a good nervous, okay? And they're going to require a lot of input from you. So to create the life you desire, you can't keep playing small. So set uncomfortably large goals for yourself. So if you want to lose 70 pounds, map that out over a year. How do you get started? What do you eat for breakfast? What is in your pantry? If you want to move to another country, what are all the steps that you need to take to get you there? Do you need a certain kind of visa? Do you need to get your passport renewed? These are all the things that you can take over time. And we're going to map them out. I'll talk about this more later when we get to the planner part. So if you're, like I said, if your goals don't scare you a little bit, then they're not big enough. Now, number 4 is to make a plan. So later in this presentation, like I said, I'm going to show you how to map out your next year with the planner pages. Now you can download them, and there's different ways that you can map out your year. I also have a previous webinar that I did on calendaring. It was called Use Your Calendar to Change Your Life. So if you go to my website and go to donnadroza.com/events, you can see all of my past webinars there. And the calendaring one is only about 15 minutes long, but it helps you decide on what are your core values and teaches you how to use your calendar to map these things out. I really highly suggest that you watch that one too, because I think that one will help you a lot as well. So I'm going to give you a few things in the emails that you're going to get after this presentation. So you're going to get the Future Self Planner, where you get to map out what you really want. And I would like you to, I'll send you a link to the calendaring class, because it'll really tell you different ways that you can fill out your calendar to make all this stuff happen. Because for the next one, we're going to schedule results on our calendars. We're not going to schedule actions. So you need to be specific about what needs to happen. So don't write down vague goals. Write down specifically what needs to be done. And that way you'll know when you did achieve it. So when I worked as a project manager for an internet company a long time ago, we used to create what we would call SMART goals. And that means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. It spells out SMART. So for example, if you want to write a book, don't make your goal for the day to write for the next 2 hours. Instead, make it specific. So write on your calendar, write the party scene where Charlotte meets Sam for the first time. So this way the goal is very specific. You know exactly what you need to do. It's measurable. So when you finish writing that party scene, you know that you're done with that task. It's attainable. You have the tools and the talent that you need to write this scene. And it's realistic, because you're not asking yourself to write, 6 chapters in one day or the whole first act. You're writing a small part of the book. And it's timely, because you have to finish this scene before you can get to the end of chapter 3, for example. So we'll go into more detail on this when I actually show you the planner pages, but they're the types of things I mean. It's the small things that you do throughout the year, which are going to add up over time. And if you map out the 12 months with a strategy, then you're going to actually get closer and closer and closer to that big goal. Now, the next tip I have for you is to show up. So you have to actually put in the work. So if you say someday I'm going to write a book, or someday I'm going to start a business, or someday I'm going to lose 50 pounds, but you don't take those small specific actions every day, you'll never achieve your goal. So no one is going to hand your goals to you. No, in order to achieve your dreams, you have to commit to taking the action. So put everything in your calendar and then show up for your calendar. And like I said, we'll get to that at the end. Now, my next tip for you is to don't beat yourself up, because like I said, we're giving ourselves a year. We're giving ourselves 12 months because this is a really big goal, and really big goals take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So you're going to experience setbacks. There are going to be days where you just don't feel like doing it, right? And you're going to have moments where you think everything is just taking way too long. So a year seems like a long time to accomplish something. Now, be willing during that year to experiment and fail. And then if you do fail, get up and keep going until you find something that works. Like I know for myself, when I started this business, in the beginning, I created this little program, that I thought was great, that I thought people would love. It took about, a week to complete. And some people took it and they liked it. And I thought, well, this is kind of like really not that great, So the next time I made up a program, I made it better, and I took feedback from people, and I didn't let it discourage me. I didn't say, I'm terrible at this and I'm just going to quit. I got back on it and I tried to make it better, and I listened to what people were telling me that they really liked. And, and things get better as they go along. So I want you to celebrate your small progresses that you make along the way, and just stay focused on that dream and the future that you want to create. So my next tip is to be honest with yourself. So what really needs to change? It's your old habits that have gotten you where you are today. So to create your future, you need to create new habits. Now, if you want to lose weight, going out with your friends and partying every weekend is probably something that you need to change. Or maybe you can find healthier ways to spend time with your friends. Or say if your big dream in a year is to buy a house, maybe you need to stop going out to restaurants so often so that you save that money for a down payment. Or if you want to start a business, maybe you need to work it as a side hustle on the weekends until you can afford to leave your job. So be honest about your situation. If you want to meet a dream mate, a lot of people want to meet the man of their dreams. Take a good look at yourself in the mirror, and be honest. So does your reflection reflect someone that's going to attract the type of person that you want in your life? Or do you need to make some changes? So it's tough to really be honest with yourself. If you want to create a dream life, you have to realize that you're going to become a different person in the process. And that person's going to have different habits, and they may even have different friends, and they may even live in a different place. It all depends on what your dream is. So during the course of this year, I want you to also make sure that you map out some time for self-care. So be sure to schedule your life into your calendar. So you're going to need time to rest and rejuvenate. You're going to need time for some fun and to spend with family and friends. And I want you to remember when you're creating your calendars to also schedule time for your health checkups, schedule in your exercise, schedule in time to cook a healthy meal, and schedule in time for fun and to just rest as well. You can't work 24 hours a day for the entire year. So put these into your calendar like you would any kind of work task. And no matter how busy you are, make time to care for yourself, because if you don't care for yourself, then what's the point of making the goal for yourself? Now, number 10 this is the final tip, is to be willing to meet new people that fit into this new way of life you're trying to create, and be willing to learn new things or experience new things or try different styles on or try different foods. Do things that inspire you, like get out into nature, go to museums, go to concerts and films, open yourself up to new experiences, because that's the way that our minds start to work creatively and we get new ideas. So be open to the possibilities for yourself. Now, remember that friend I told you who wanted to lose a bunch of weight and she ended up getting divorced. She never liked to exercise, and she just started walking a little bit every day. But then when she got into hiking, she met this group of people who were really encouraging, and she joined this little hiking club, and they would go, she lived in California, so they would hike on these different trails in California. And, it was just like a fun time for her. And she realized that exercise doesn't have to be something that's a chore if you find a way that you like to do it. So if weight loss is one of your goals, find something that you really love to do. Be open-minded enough to try something new. For me, hiking wouldn't work. I don't really like the outdoors all that much, but I like to do things like take dance classes and stuff like that. So be willing to try different kinds of things. You learn a new way of doing things, and it can change your life for the better. That woman ended up losing 125 pounds, by the way, and she looks fabulous. And she did get remarried. She met someone along this journey that she was taking, that was just more in line with where she wanted to go. And so be open to the possibilities that await you. So I have another quote for you. This one's by Zig Ziglar. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. So like I said, you're going to become a different person along with this process. So thank you for listening to my talk. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, because I want to bring up the calendar pages. So let me share a different screen here, because I just want to show you what I have for you. So I made these PDFs that you can download. So you can plan your next year in quarters like I have here, or you can plan it in thirds, or you can actually do this however you want. But these are the way I like to do it. I'd like to do quarters. I know some people like to do it in thirds. So I put some months along the side here. So it starts in October for the next 3 months. So we're going to do these in 3-month chunks, or you can do it in 4-month chunks if you want to use this one. I started in October because it's September now. September is almost over. So think about the last quarter of this year and then the next 3 quarters of next year, so that by the end of next September, hopefully you'll be reaching your big goal. I also have for you the same pages without the months listed on the side here. So if you wanted to start in a different month, you can just use these however you like. And I also have a page for every month. So I have the 12 months here with just blank spaces. So what you're going to do is think about your big goal. And then, so say for example, if you wanted to lose 60 pounds in the next year. So in 6 months, that would be 30 pounds. In quarters, that would be 15 pounds. So when you think that you have 3 months to lose 15 pounds, that doesn't sound as hard, does it? So we're going to break these things up into quarters to make them smaller. Now, you can use this for anything that you want to do. Now, I have some sample pages at the bottom here that I started to fill out just so you can see what I've done. So here you can see there's all these 12 months. And you don't have to print these out if you want. You can also just take these ideas and copy them into a journal. So here's my example. So one of my big things last year was that I wanted to, over the course of the year, to create a content creation business. So I would do things, I started a podcast, and, I have a couple cookbooks that I released. So I just filled in some things here. So I wrote down the big things that I needed to happen for each month. So like in October, I hosted a free webinar. In November, I hosted an online course. In December, my book came out. These are just examples. My book didn't really come out in December, but you understand. So say I take the cookbook release that I wrote down in December. So then I go to my December page and I write down all the things I have to do for that cookbook release. So these are some things that my publisher gave me that they wanted me to do when my book came out. So I needed to post the cookbook news to my Facebook friends. Then I needed to create an Instagram story for the cookbook. I needed to notify all the people on my email list that my cookbook was coming out. I was going to host a cookbook giveaway on YouTube. So you write down the big things that have to happen. Now, whatever kind of calendar that you like to use for your daily life, this is when you take these and you break them down into tasks. So if I wanted to host a cookbook giveaway on YouTube, that's kind of broad. So what actually do I need to do? So I need to pick a time when I'm going to do it. I need to write what I'm going to say. I need to maybe come up with some graphics that I'm going to share on the cookbook, on the YouTube channel for the cookbook. I need to have the cookbooks in my hand to show people. Maybe I want to make a recipe out of the cookbook so I can show them things. So they're the kind of things, the smaller little things that you would put on your calendar. So like I said, you can break these down into quarters, or I guess it would be trimesters would be what you do in thirds. And I will give you a link to this as well so you can download it. I think that's all I have for you. Like, if this makes sense to you, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We covered a lot of ground today. So if anybody has any questions, you can either write it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, or raise your hand. And if not, you can always write to me later. You can always email me at ddroza@donnadroza.com, or if you go to my website, there's a contact form, which makes it easy for you. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, when I send out this replay, if you want to watch it again, or if there's anything you wanted to go over again, and if you have any questions, you can always ask me some later. If not, I just want to thank you very much for being here, and I hope you enjoyed it. And next month's topic, I try to do these webinars every month. Next month's topic is about longevity, and it's about all the lifestyle habits that we can create. It was inspired by Queen Elizabeth II, because I was looking at her, and I actually was thinking, man, that woman has some good genes in her. She lived really long. Her mother lived really long. There's something that she's doing that's right. And I started to think about longevity and all the things with the things that I know about the Mediterranean diet that we can do for longevity. So hopefully you'll join me next month as well. Okay, if nobody has any questions, then I will see you all later, and thank you very much. Thank you for all you do. I really enjoy your emails and things you have shared. Oh, thank you so much, Teresa. I love that. I'm glad to hear that. It helps me keep going. Okay, well, have a beautiful day, everyone. And I hope that you take these tips to heart. And when you get the replay email that will come out tomorrow, it'll have all those links to the things that I mentioned, all the things that you can download, or the other class that you can watch as well. Thank you for an inspiring webinar. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, goodbye, everyone.